Welcome to the Haunted Ride.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Haunted Ride. I'm your host, Melissa, and I thought I would just take this time. It's going to be a really simple, sort of short episode, and this is just our introduction. I figure, I want you guys to really understand what this podcast is going to be because it's really about you guys. So I thought this might be kind of helpful. The Haunted Ride is just a place for you guys to share your paranormal and or supernatural experiences. I'm basically looking for is just anything that's happened. I want this to be a judgment-free zone. I want you guys to feel comfortable. I know it's very difficult sometimes to talk about these things because you're used to people kind of thinking that you're nuts when you talk about the supernatural, and I don't think anyone should feel that way. And I know I've had numerous supernatural experiences, and I felt that way because I didn't know who to talk to. And people, after a while, if you get to know them, you think you can talk to them about it. It turns out you can't. There are two ways for you guys to send in your supernatural stories. One is by going to thehauntedride.com. There's a nice little send us your ghost story link up top. Click it, fill out the form, submit it. Or if you don't want to go to the website, I completely understand. Just go into your email client and send us an email at thehauntedride@gmail.com. And I appreciate you guys for any stories that you send in. Again, I know how just difficult it is to kind of talk about it and kind of just sort of, it's a little touchy. It's a little like, I don't know how this is going to go. I don't know how people are going to feel. To kind of be the icebreaker, for the first, I'm thinking it's probably going to be 3 episodes, I'm going to talk to you guys about my experiences. As I sort of mentioned earlier, I've had a lot of experiences in the supernatural. I'm not going to go into all of them, but I will go into the ones that I remember the clearest from the house that I grew up in, which was a haunted house. I tried to kind of jot down everything and remember everything and put it in chronological order, but it was hard. There's just a lot of things that happened. Hopefully that will kind of help you guys feel like, okay, I see how she feels about this because she's gone through it, and it'll make you guys feel more welcome to send in your stories, and I'll give you guys a little tiny bit of courage. Not that you should need it, but I hope that it does. I hope it makes you feel like, okay, yeah, she gets it. She gets it, and she'll get my story. And maybe it might even jog your memory of, hey, this happened to me, and I never thought it was supernatural. I listen to several podcasts which focus on the supernatural and people sending in their stories, and I cannot tell you the amount of times where that has happened to me. I've had nightmares that essentially, for all intents and purposes, became real, and that terrified me. And I never really put the correlation that my nightmare was a foreshadowing part of the experience. To me, it was just a nightmare that a kid had. But that's not the case at all, and I would have never thought, oh, you know what? Let me link these together, until I heard other people tell their stories, and I thought, oh crap, okay, this makes sense to me now. I understand where they're coming from. Why did I never piece them together? So, that's all for this episode. Hopefully, by the time that you guys hear this episode, the next episode will be up. Right now, I post once a week. It will increase as we get more people towards the show and we get more stories. I want to make sure that I have enough content to put out for right now. So, yes, please send in your stories because this is supposed to be a community. Like I said earlier, this is a podcast for you guys. And in all honesty, it's a podcast for you guys as much as it is for me. Because with every story that you send in, it's going to validate my experience. It's going to open my eyes to how many stories are out there and how many people have had experiences. And any experience you have deserves validation. I hope that you guys like the idea of what this podcast is about. Please remember to submit in your stories either by going to thehauntedride.com or submit them in by emailing to thehauntedride@gmail.com. And I will see you guys next week. Have an amazing night, and don't let the ghost get you.